Okay, the clerk take the roll, please.
Supervisor Barlow.
Here.
Trustees. Shaver.
Here.
Yeager.
Here.
Mercado. Here. Vandenagel.
Here.
All present.
Here, Tim, if you want to. Okay. I assume everybody's here and present?
I said all present.
Okay. Okay, second item on the list is public comment. I believe we have two speakers. The first one was Robert Beltran.
Hello?
Yeah, it works. There it is.
It works.
Okay, well, two items. One is regarding the emergency assistance. I noticed that the board had previously, at least tentatively, voted to reduce the amount. It's something I'd like to see a bit of a buffer in, because you never know what the future is going to bring, and it's hard to add to it later. We're facing the possibility of a debt limit crisis, and who knows what's going to happen if that does not pass at the federal level. And then the other is regarding elected officers' salaries. I strongly encourage the board to follow the vote of the electors 2 years ago, when they instructed the board to resume the original salaries of the previous board, including benefits. And I really think that if we're going to sustain the township through the next cycle with a board that can serve, that is professional in quality, those salaries need to be restored. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it. I believe there's a second person, Mary.
Come up here. Good evening, Mary Mahady. Is this on? It's on, isn't it? Yeah. It is. Good. Okay.
Got close to it.
It got close to it?
Yeah,
I think it
close
got
to it.
closer to it. But anyway, I just wanted to, as a member of the public, make a comment on item 9.1, the getting some software to help with the minutes for the meetings, from the meeting. I guess I just have some questions. I know you're going to be doing your due diligence and hopefully, making sure that this is a wise thing. Hopefully it's going to help. I guess I don't really know what the goal is other than to get the minutes clear. I know that they get recorded. I know they're recorded on video. But I would suggest a few things maybe we try, like making sure everybody uses a microphone so that you get a good recording. You might not need another recording if you can understand what people are saying. And quite honestly, sitting at the end of the table there, a lot of times you guys don't use your microphone. I can't even hear you. So I can understand frustration of not hearing people. But things like that we might be able to try, that I know a lot of the meetings I'm in, that people taking the minutes, they prepare pre-planned pages with the agenda items and who does the motion, who makes the second, to make that easier. Because if we have a good recording, my understanding from the discussion last month was that this takes the information, takes a recording, spits out a transcript. And then from that transcript, the clerk is taking what they want from that. Same thing from there. So I'm just asking that you please do, make sure we're a township that's still climbing back from a significant hole. This is something that is beneficial to us. The second thing is not on the agenda, just something that last month we talked about that I just felt like I had to say something that not on the board, so I couldn't speak to it until this month. But I think from what I heard last month that it might come up again, and that's the possibility of hiring a deputy clerk. I just have a lot of questions around that. I think that that there may, there's there are duties, specific duties required of the clerk. And we have on our website that they're from 7:30 to 10:30 every day. The clerk is here, so that would be about 15 hours a week. I don't know if that's not enough time, or quite honestly, my question would be, what's not getting done? If we're going to hire a deputy clerk, what is not being done now that needs to be done? So the other part of the conversation last month was how there's no training. And quite honestly, and this is something I've said many times, there's no requirement for any training for any of these positions except the assessor. People run for office, they don't know what the position requires, they just jump in. Everyone, and hopefully you're learning. There's training by the township officials of Illinois. Heck, there's an attorney here in town who every 4 years runs a free half-day seminar telling you, talking about to new elected officials, free. And certainly, I think, I understand your first term, you're learning. Maybe there's a learning curve. A few years into the second term, you should know well what you're supposed to do. And again, I don't know. I don't know what's going on and what's not going on. I have my own job to do, but if this is a part-time job, and if we're needing to get somebody else to do it, is it a full-time job? I don't know. But I think that's something worth looking into. So, but the questions of what's not getting done would be of concern to me if that's why we're looking for a deputy clerk. And that's all I have. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, moving on in the agenda to approval of meeting minutes. 3.1. The February 13th, was it off? The February 13th, 2023. The motion for discussion and possible action.
I'll make a motion for discussion and possible action.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on the February 13th budget meeting? Workshop? Hearing none, I'll call for would you follow up with a motion to approve those, Mark? Yeah. Is that the action?
Yes.
Or, excuse me. Motion. Yeah, so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor to approve the meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? None opposed, motion carries. Item 3.2, approval of the Mchenry Township budget meeting minutes from February 27th. Discussion and possible action. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
John?
I'll second.
And who's the second?
Adam.
Okay, any changes in those meeting minutes? No discussion. Call for the approval of those meeting minutes. All those in favor of the meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Hearing no nays, the motion passes. They're approved. Regular board meeting minutes from April 13th. Can I get a motion and a motion for possible action?
I'll make a motion
I'll
to
second.
approve and discuss the board meetings from April 13th.
Okay.
I have a second.
I have a second from Adam. Any discussion? Any discussion? I guess I'll call for the motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 13th. Yes, thank you. All those in favor of the meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Note that I'm going to abstain from that.
I'm abstaining.
You're abstaining also?
Correct.
Three ayes, motion passes. Okay. Approval of the Mchenry Township budget appropriation hearing meeting minutes for the GRV and PHR. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to discuss and approve.
Okay. Any discussion regarding any changes to these? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the motion to approve the meeting minutes. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing no nays, any abstentions?
Abstain.
She's going to abstain. So, ayes. Motion passes, or the meeting's passed. The April 13th budget appropriation hearing for the town and general assistance fund on April 13th.
I'll make a motion to approve and discuss.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Yeager. Any changes to these meeting minutes? Any changes? Hearing none, I'll call for the motion to approve the budget appropriation hearing meeting minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay. Okay, so that's all the meeting minutes. Okay, 4.0, the motion for approval and receipts and bills for the town.
We, the undersigned members of the Mchenry Township Board of Trustees, certify that we have this 11th day of May 2023 examined and audited the amounts due for items specified in the claims attached and hereby authorized payments of same. There was one late bill added to this with $225. Total reimbursements to be approved, $0. Total bills to be approved, $62,525.14. Total bills paid prior to audit, $55,748.04. Total to be approved with the late bill added, $118,498.18. Total receipts, $34,003.28. Make a motion to approve the bill payments from the town.
Do I have a second?
Second.
So I'll call for the motion. Or any discussion? Call for the motion to approve the bills for the town fund to be paid. All those, oh wait, that's you. Roll call, sorry. Jumped ahead.
All right, Supervisor Barlow,
Yes.
Trustees Shaver,
Yes.
Yeager,
Yes.
Macready,
Yes.
Benedict,
Yes.
all ayes, motion carries.
Okay. Item number 5 is the motion for approval of receipts and bills for the general road and bridge fund.
We, the undersigned members of the Mchenry Township Board of Trustees, certify that we have this 11th day of May 2023 examined and audited the amounts due for the items specified in the claims attached and hereby authorized payments of same. Total reimbursements to be approved, $0. Total bills to be approved, $177,162.59. Total bills paid prior to audit, $13,911.48. Total to be approved, $191,074.07. Total receipts, $55,648.55.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion on the bills for general road and bridge? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the approval of and to pay the receipts and bills for the general road and bridge fund. All of those, and the clerk will call roll again.
Supervisor Barlow,
Yes.
Trustees Shaver,
Yes.
Yeager,
Yes.
McCredo,
Yes.
Bendigo,
Yes.
all ayes, motion carries.
And item number 6 is the approval of receipts and bills for the permanent hard route.
We, the undersigned members of the McHenry Township Board of Trustees, certify that we have this 11th day of May 2023 examined and audited amounts due for the items specified in the claims attached and hereby authorized payment of the same. Total reimbursements to be approved, none. Total bills to be approved, $11,372.70. Total bills paid prior to audit, $23,450.95. Total to be approved, $34,823.65. Total receipts, $13,550.67.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Will the clerk take the roll?
Supervisor Barlow,
Yes.
Trustees Shaver,
Yes.
Yeager,
Yes.
McCredo,
Yes.
Bendigo,
Yes.
all ayes, motion carries.
Okay, item 7 are some fund transfers. 7.1 is the approval of the GRB and PHR line item transfer. I have a motion for discussion and possible action.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Mark is second. Any discussion you want to?
All right, the fund transfers that are being brought up are being brought back to the board. They will actually have no effect on the actual budget itself for prior year, but it's just being noted so that it can be noted in the audit.
Did this come up because of the audit?
No. No, this came up because we missed some line items. The bills came in later, and we had already closed. He had an electric bill.
Actually, if I could just speak,
Sure.
if I could speak to that for 1 second, and that is, so we are, the auditing system, since we're on an accrual system, all our invoices that are dated the 31st of March have to be included in last year's budget. We get bills in April for the March, and we have to get them back. And so that's why you see many of them, and then once in a while, quite frankly, in our case, there was a couple that we just missed that needed to be pushed back. So it's kind of a, sorry, I like to
And
ask
it
basis
actually-
thing, but that's
yeah,
what
when
it
I
is.
talk to the accounting and I talk to the auditors, it really makes no bearing on the budget overall. It's just actually to make everything look pretty.
Clean up. Clean up.
Other than that, but we're at least noting it, so
Yeah.
there you have it.
Clean up. Fine.
So being as though these are line item transfers and they're dealing with money, do I have to do a roll call or can I do the voice vote?
It's got to be a roll call because it is money.
I will ask the clerk. If there's no further discussion on the GRB and PHR, I will call.
How much money are we talking about? Just like,
It was
7.1, you're talking about $1,200.
$12.
It was in your
I just
packet.
asking, okay.
There's the
Twelve-
I didn't print those.
$1,210.
Roll call vote, Supervisor Barlow,
Yes.
Trustees Shaver,
Yes.
Yeager,
Yes.
McCredo,
Yes.
Bendigo,
Yes.
all ayes, motion carries.
7.2 is additional GA and town fund line item transfers. I'll make a motion that we approve those or review them and approve them again.
I'll second.
And everybody, any questions regarding that?
It's the same thing, and the amount of that one is $1,986. Pardon me?
Came in late.
Which one is getting, which one is taking?
We're taking it from town into town. It's all in the same fund. It's just for line item transfers, not fund transfers. There's a difference.
Will the clerk take the roll?
Supervisor Barlow,
Yes.
Trustees Shaver,
Yes.
Yeager,
Yes.
McCredo,
Yes.
Bendigo,
Yes.
all ayes, motion carries.
Okay. Item number 8 is new business. There is no new business this month. The next thing on the list is 9.0 is old business discussion. 9.1 is discussion on the recording of the public meeting minutes. I guess I'll make a motion for discussion on the.
Second it.
That will be a copy of the email that you have that I added to your packets that were not in the packets. So they should be at your spot from XCal. So the clerk is actually recording this meeting with her phone, and we will be putting it on the Dragon has a 7-day trial. And then it'll be up to the board whether you want to approve her getting that software or not. And that's all.
Yeah, once we review the finished product.
Correct. You guys will review it and make your decision whether she can purchase it or not.
I guess I asked for a little more clarification. Are we just approving the transcription, or are we approving ultimately what comes out as the meeting minutes?
It
I
sounds
guess
like,
you can make that decision after you see what's
it doesn't sound like we're approving anything. It sounds like
You're not
we're
approving
testing.
anything today.
Where are we headed?
We're testing the capability of the recording on the
That's
clerk's
all you're
phone.
doing right now, is testing it.
But if you look at the email from the XCal rep, he says his concern is that it's meant as more of an individual use versus a meeting environment, because the microphone on the laptop is only going to pick up the person that's in front of it. So there would have to be a way to somehow tap into the microphone system for it to be effective.
It is a concern.
Well, I guess my concern is though we also have the YouTube videos with the same information that we can listen to and transcribe. So, I mean, we have a free resource versus paying $700. So I'm interested to see how this is a betterment to what we have for free.
Can I make a comment on that?
Sure.
Use the microphone.
Use your mic though, please.
Hello. The reason we want to try this, the transcript that we've gotten from YouTube it's just too, you can't follow it. There's no rhyme or reason. Debbie and I have both looked over this. Where I'm hoping that this will be clear, and it'll be able to have its permanent record, not to replace the minutes. It's just so that instead of saying referring to a document that's like YouTube that is not permanent record, this could be put into the system as permanent record, and it'd be easy access to the referral. It would give two things. It would give me a little bit easier to follow it, more accurate on the minutes, and it will also give the public, if they wanted it, to see exactly what was said word for word.
That was
But that's not
that was
even-
not what was
Yeah,
discussed
and if I'm
in
not
the last
mistaken,
meeting.
we can't legally say, you couldn't, the recordings cannot be a legal part, into that part.
The only permanent record that comes out of the meetings is the actual meeting.
But we
minutes.
wouldn't be using the recording. We would be using a typed print of the recording.
Okay, if I may.
Still the same.
My issue is still, I didn't realize that YouTube had a transcript in the first place. I figured YouTube was used to listen to and go back and write my minutes and, okay, let's backtrack, and that's what was said, and put that in my minutes. What this sounds like is we're trying to find another way to not do the actual minutes that people, this is it. This is
No.
what we read.
No.
Not going to a YouTube, not taking a transcript off of whatever shot out from this Dragon software. This still has to be done, and this still has to be accurate. If this helps this be accurate, great.
That's-
If this is taking the place of this, no.
No, it would not be that, I've said this over and over again. This is not to replace the minutes. I would do the minutes exactly the same as I am. It would just give a printed document of exactly what was said.
Could we change that to the minutes would be more accurate with having more tools versus being exactly how they are? Because I would be happy with that.
That was what was agreed to at the last
Yes,
meeting, and
exactly.
now it seems like we're going back to somehow taking this transcript
Exactly.
and
Okay.
that was
This
not what was
put back
agreed
on
to.
there as, this is
Then I
just
didn't-
informational, and we're gonna test it out, and he'll bring back, she will bring back whatever output she gets from it.
But Michelle, the problem with the YouTube recording is that we don't all always speak into the microphone, so it can't distinguish what's being said, to Mary's point earlier as well. It can't
And I do
distinguish what's being
understand
said.
Video, the recording on it, if you listen to it, you can hear it just fine.
Correct.
Yeah, I've reviewed quite a few YouTube videos so that I do know what I've missed.
Correct.
And I can get more information from those, unfortunately, than I do the meeting minutes. So if this is a tool that helps the meeting minutes be more complete,
That was what was explained to us last time as well.
then I'm all for it.
Correct.
If it's a tool to keep what we have and send people elsewhere, I'm not on board.
Agreed.
May I make a comment? Certainly, you can go through the trial and see what you like or don't like about it, but please be aware that there's a high probability that the transcript you get out of Dragon Naturally Speaking is going to have misinterpretations of words. So it could actually be more of a randomizer than an actual accurate recording. But you'll find out, I guess, when you test it out. Just be careful that you know what was the truth versus what you're seeing printed there.
I'm good with the trial and see the improvement, which doesn't cost us anything before we make a decision to do something further.
But after 7 days, you probably will get charged for it if you haven't.
If you don't.
sent it.
Correct.
Correct.
So you have to stay on top.
Well, we can have a special meeting to listen to this then, or
No.
who's gonna make that
You won't
decision?
need- No.
No.
It can be done differently, where I just try it out, we'll see how it works, and then we don't have to worry about 7 days.
It may work.
It can
it
wait
may
till the
not.
next meeting.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is the recording you're sending to Dragon coming off that phone?
Yes.
Okay. So that phone is, we're guessing, is going to give a clear recording?
We will find out.
Correct, we
That's
will
why I'm
find out.
using this.
Yeah.
Correct.
Therefore, clear recording.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay, so, item number 1, discussion recording of public meetings. I'll amend my motion to table this until next month. John, would you,
Second.
Sure. Second.
okay? All those in favor of tabling this until next month, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nays? No nays? Okay, it's tabled for next month. Okay, 9.2 is the discussion of ongoing emergency assistance. I'll make a motion for discussion and possible action.
I'll second.
Okay. So in your package, you got the information regarding kind of the changes that were made in the program that's going to go, that we're going to be offering through emergency assistance
Right.
for next year.
In your packet was the EA guidelines, and then on your table, you should have the follow-up that you guys were asking about, I believe, in that other email.
Oh, you asked the attorney,
Yes.
last meeting, you asked the attorney for.
You asked the attorney, he was working on it, so it'll be the page 2, which is actually the 4th page. In that, I didn't put them in order, sorry guys. So we did make adjustments. Me and Gary had sat down and gone through what we feel the need is, and we took into consideration your guys' thought process. We did find out that by law, we cannot let anybody come back more than once. They can only get it once in 12 months. They can't come back a second time, regardless of what they get. We're not allowed to do that. So what we did is we just made it to be like up to max. And that's how we went ahead and went forward with it. And I did drop the shelter and utilities to 12, because I can also utilize Salvation Army if need be, if needs to be more, since we are a satellite for them. Any questions on that piece of paperwork?
I think,
That's not what,
Mr. Beltran had mentioned earlier that we had somehow reduced this. I think it's important to call out that we actually increased the overall, so when we just went through the budget session, we increased the overall budget from last year to this year, the total amount of money that was in there. Now, the amount that was originally proposed for that, at our budget session, we did slightly reduce the proposal, but there was still a net increase from what the amount was last year.
Oh, okay.
But we had recommended as part of that, that we look into the specific item amounts for the different categories of things that would be paid and try to make it more favorable to people to be able to utilize it for the most important things.
What I read in the minutes was that it was reduced, so. I misunderstood.
So the budget submitted was higher.
Yeah,
What I proposed was higher, and they.
Got it.
yeah, okay.
But it wasn't a net increase from last year because of the other things that you mentioned, uncertainty.
And the attorney will be back next month
Yes.
to specifically answer the question regarding the legality of who's responsible for what.
yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
The other thing that it's just a thought process that I'm having, and we can discuss it down the road, is that, for me, this is such an important decision on how much money you use towards emergency assistance. I honestly believe you should let the electors make that decision. Again, it's just my point of view. I don't have a problem, even if we had to put it on the ballot down the road, let the electors make the decision on how much money we should set aside for emergency assistance. I mean, that's how important this issue is going to become down the road here.
As an elector, can I speak?
Sure.
I don't think most electors will have the information available to them to make a prudent decision in that regard.
It's just a suggestion, I'm not, hate to find what's here.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
This is the one that townships don't have to, right?
Correct.
Emergency assistance, right, correct.
Correct.
Only
Just
general
clarifying.
assistance.
Yeah,
Correct,
correct.
correct.
But it's helpful to have.
Which, I don't know that I agree that it needs to go to the electors if the township can make that decision.
Well, I understand, it's just for discussion purposes. I'm not here,
All right, any other questions for me on the program itself?
Personally, my involvement in the township, in what I've been involved in, sitting on both sides of the table, I think the way that the program is generated and the way it's administered has worked, and I think it will continue to work. The most important part is, from the board, is to understand what's going on in the community and what is the need, and translate it into a budget dollar amount. That's really, and it's difficult. We sit and consternate about rents in the local area, and we talked about what is the poverty level rate, which doesn't directly correlate to our program, but it does calculate.
No, it correlates to the programs
Yeah.
that are offered to all these people.
Correct.
And so we're dealing with the people that are not gonna qualify for that program, but not this program, but they're like the gap that
Yeah.
it's missed, that are falling through the cracks.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's what we're doing.
trying to do, yeah.
There's no reason for us to do the same thing that the county's doing, or Homeland Sparrow's doing, or whoever.
So I'll amend the motion to bring it back for next meeting for the discussion on the legality of who's responsible for what.
I'll second.
agreed.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing no opposition, the motion passed. Be tabled, come back next month. Okay, 9.3, discussion on elected official salaries and discussion and possible action,
I'll make a motion for discussion, possible action.
I'll second the motion.
Okay,
So I handed all of you guys a packet of some additional information that I pulled out and prepared, that ultimately was a document from the township officials of Illinois prior to the last budget, I think the last main budget setting session. And on the final page, I just broke down so it's a little easier to analyze, but ultimately our township falls into the Zone 1 category that you'll see at the top. And what that zone is showing is by the number of dollars, what percentage of townships fall into paying that amount of dollars, essentially. So for example, on Zone 1, 66.67% of townships pay trustees between $1,000 and $40,999 per year. So I just for sake of conversation, pulled out trustees and supervisor on there. It did not contain all of the positions, because the reporting was a little bit long. But thought that that would be helpful in our conversation. And I did notice in the packets that Debbie handed out today, there was the prior resolution where we evidently reduced the compensation, and it was some notes off to the right with dollar amounts. I would just like clarification on where those dollar amounts came from and who wrote those dollar amounts in.
So, so what that information is was put together for you guys. Debbie and I sat down and she pulled what was the pay for, what you see typed is this from 2021, May of 17, 2021 through 2025. The handwritten was the last 4 years prior to that.
Okay.
And that number was the cumulative of where it ended.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
At the end of the year.
The number from which the typed amounts were reduced to,
Yeah,
where they came from.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. That's helpful as well. So,
And that's just purely salary compensation. That's no benefits or anything included in that.
okay. So I said before, when I'm responsible for putting this on the conversation docket, if you will. There's been lots of conversation. I'm not all for just spending money unnecessarily, but to make sure that we are effective as a board and that all of the positions within the township that are elected and have a compensation component, to make sure that we retain effective employees and people. So I think that the old board hobbled the township. I think we all know that that's the case. To Mr. Beltran's comment earlier, 2 years ago there was a vote to reinstate. We have abstained from doing that. We also did not raise taxes this year. I think overall we've done a really good job of what we've been able to accomplish. But I think this is a conversation that needs to be had sooner than later to get ready for the next session.
Would you like to amend your motion and bring it back next month for further discussion? Because more data, we need to find out what, you guys need to look at what assessors are paid, what road commissioners are paid. You need to take, no, those weren't, we don't have those numbers. We haven't had time to sit down and do all that research. So that, all of that, this is gonna be a process. This isn't gonna be a one-hit wonder.
Right.
Yeah, so this is not gonna be a one-hit wonder. It's gonna be a process.
Why not? They did it as a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, so I have some ideas of some documentation, just kind of bring you back to a starting point for the next meeting. And we'll kind of go from there and decide what we want to do. It'll give you an idea of what the numbers are.
And you'll get us that information prior to the meeting?
Sure, I'll have it before the packet. I'll have it in the packet. Yeah.
All right, so I'll amend the motion then to table it to the next meeting until we get further information, but discuss further.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All those in favor of tabling the discussion on elected official salaries, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none, it comes back next month.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I don't know if I didn't be recognized. So who has the responsibility of going out and finding the information of what different townships pay their highway commissioners, their supervisors, their trustees, their clerks, their assessors? Who's gonna do that? That's all I wonder.
Yeah.
Are we gonna ask the township staff to do that? Is that what we're doing? Or, in other words, you want the road district to find out from the road district part and then council?
If you have the time and are willing to help in the process, absolutely. Because my idea is I was just gonna go and take this year's budget, plug in where we ended, and show you what that looks like from a dollars and cents standpoint, and then what you'd in turn have to levy to get there. And then you also have to take into account inflation, any projects that you want to do in the township, any services you want to continue to provide, and the cost increase that go along with all of that. So it's, yes, if you would be willing to help.
I guess my point was, I would be glad to show you comparable townships in the McHenry Township Road District and the salaries that they pay and the benefits they have, and bring it back to you and show you what those I just was wondering if I could help out doing that, that's all.
Absolutely, I'll take your help.
Gary, can I be recognized?
Yes, Mary.
Okay, thanks. I probably should turn a microphone on, so you hear me.
So you did ask me last month, and I apologize I did not get it to you, but I did put together some details on, you said, what would you be looking at to compare? So I did that and I have that here tonight, happy to give that to you. As far as getting information on other similar assessment jurisdiction salaries and benefits, I will tell you it's really hard right now. We're in the middle of a quadrennial and heads down. I mean, it's really, we have to do what we have to do first. If I can get some of that information, I'll get it to Gary that he can present. But I'll give you this tonight so you at least know that. And yeah, hopefully comparing apples to apples. I mean, even within our own township, we only have really 4 townships that are similar to McHenry. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're done with 9.3 then? Good, okay. 10 is proposed agenda items for next monthly board meeting. I don't have anything at this point in time from supervisors.
I have the one project that I'm looking into, the possible off-road RC racetrack on some piece of township property for kids. I'm working with a couple of different vendors to see if I can secure any donations, but we can discuss next meeting.
Along the same lines, I've been requested to look at pickleball courts.
What?
Pickleball.
Whatever that is.
It's Elder's version of tennis.
It's tennis
I don't know
and
if
ping, it's tennis and ping pong combined. You play it on half of a tennis court, but you have a paddle similar to ping pong but larger. If that helped to clear up anything.
And a wiffle ball.
Oh,
Yeah, and a wiffle ball.
It's hugely
okay.
popular, it's great exercise, and it's much easier than tennis.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
I want to play.
So I do know of a pickleball court for reference over in the Holmes, the Berkshire over in Johnsburg, the old gymnasium. They offer pickleball in there.
Too.
Yeah. Okay, Knox Park also.
Okay.
I didn't know that. Okay. Anything else for the next agenda? Any questions? I guess moving on to number 11, any questions regarding the supervisor's report at this point in time? You know, I begin to sound like a broken record, but we continue to, in collaboration with the local food pantries in Northern Illinois Food Bank over the last couple of weeks, their need is increasing exponentially, so there's a huge need right now. And that's, I'm afraid of what's coming after May 19th. That's when all the programs end, so. That's my major concern at the moment, is trying to manage that. It's gonna come through the front door.
What's happening May 19th?
All the federal and state programs that were tied to COVID, where there is extra money going out,
Gotcha.
all the COVID money stops, it ceases.
Oh, that's been helping a lot.
Correct. So,
Okay.
and not only, you know, with, I think you've heard the increases that were given out with Social Security and things of that nature, it's put people into different categories, and it's put them into a quandary on how they divide up their budgets. So they're not able to get food stamps possibly, and I think that's why they're seeing, or SNAP or whatever that is. So that's why they're seeing a huge increase at the pantries.
Okay.
So that's kind of what's going on that I've been tracking right now. Any questions for me? Hearing none, I will turn it over to the assessor.
To sound like a broken record, Glenn.
Be repetitive because we're working on our assessments. for
Mike's not
2020. Wow. I don't know.
Sometimes you can accidentally push the button to turn it on.
Too many times.
Yeah.
That happens. So, as you all probably know, tax bills have gone out, and we know that because we get a lot of calls. And just so you understand what goes on in my office as well, a lot of people think that's the place to call, McHenry, and even if they're trying to call McHenry County, pretty much we could put a broken, a tape on that says, this is McHenry Township. We don't have any information on your property, but we do get a lot of calls and direct them to the right places. But everybody thinks we're McHenry County. But those bills are out, and those are, again, just to remind people, they can, if there's exemptions missing, they can be corrected before the second installment comes out, or before they have to pay the second installment. And we spend a lot of time answering people's questions on their tax bills. Again, it's just part of what I feel is customer service. If they're calling, even, we'll direct them to the right township, but they have a lot of questions for us as well. My staff is out in neighborhoods. We're trying to collect as much as we can prior to turning in the assessments to the county. And again, we always tell people if they have any questions that they should call the office. And just so you know, my staff is, their process is they go to the door, they knock, ring the bell a couple of times. If no one answers, they measure and they take photographs, and they leave a card. So we want people to know we were there. And usually, not always, people call back, and occasionally they call and say, what were you doing on my property? And so we have to answer those questions as well. But they are out, and now that we're really in good weather, they'll be out a lot more. Again, this is something I've been saying, and I try to do in our Facebook live presentations, which I know not everybody watches, but we do put it on. It stays on Facebook, and we also put it on the website. But people should be looking now at what the value of their property is. You don't have to wait to get your notice, which is going to be August or September. The values are out there already. They're still going out. So that's going to be interesting. But quite honestly, there are areas that could see significant increases in their market value. That's not a direct correlation to how much their taxes will go up, because overall in the township, a lot of people are everybody's going up at least, or around 10% is our township factor for 2023. So again, I will expect a lot of phone calls after the assessment notices go out, but I encourage that. Call and ask questions, and if one, we want you to know the answers, and we want you to know how to go through the process if you need to appeal. But start doing your work now, because it's already the end of May. So, I have hired a full-time staff field inspector that will be starting Monday, actually. Younger person that hopefully will stick around for a while, so we'll see how that goes. And I also have hired a part-time, basically a data entry person. We have a lot of files that we have paper files, but there's no pictures or sketches in our computer system. A lot of those are basic, kind of square houses, but that has to be done and it should be put there so it's easily accessible. Even yesterday, I got a call from an appraiser. They asked us for our sketches, and I was like, I don't have one. So, just trying to catch up on a lot of stuff that my my field staff right now, we have other priorities. So, this is a high school student, part-time, or actually he's graduating. He's a graduating senior. And working with the software, it's a little easier for some of these younger people. But, so that, we'll see how that goes, but that's part-time, starting June 5th. Other than that, that's just, working on assessment values for 2023. And if you have any questions, happy to answer them.
I have one, Mary. The people that you recently hired, that's not over the budget, that's people who have planned in the budget, correct? You hired the full-timer?
Oh, yes,
that part-time
correct.
that was in the
Yes,
budget, we just
correct.
approved.
We budgeted for that,
Okay.
correct, yes.
That's all right.
Okay,
I don't have any questions.
thank you much.
Want to hand him his microphone back? He'll need it.
Okay, we'll move on to the Highway Commissioner's report.
You have my report, my written report, so I'm not going to go too much into it. It's regularly updated, so if you have any questions, I'm glad to answer those. I did want to point out one thing that's happened to us recently, though. It's interesting. Since I became Highway Commissioner, we've kind of done more and more stuff than we used to do. It used to be mowing and paving and snow plowing, that's it. We've started taking on a lot of drainage problems. It's interesting, the guys started learning about drainage and grades and how to make improvements and things like that. And all of a sudden the contractors started realizing that, holy cow, they have some pretty smart people at the township, and they just stole two of our employees.
Oh, no.
So anyway, it's interesting. I just thought I'd let you know that,
They're stealing your...
that, holy cow, apparently, the township doesn't pay as much as everybody thinks we do. And they come and kind of rate our employees based on what we teach them. We have currently become a training ground, unfortunately. But in any case, there's lots of good people out there and we'll continue to do what we do. So, glad to answer any questions you have.
On the mulch, are we done with that now? Can we catch up?
We still have a list. We're going to finish off the list that we have, I believe. And so the mulch issue, for anybody who has any questions, why would the township give away mulch and why are we delivering mulch, et cetera, et cetera? We're not in the business of doing mulch. What happened was we had a bad storm previously, and we had a ton of material that we had to dispose of. We are fortunate that we have a working relationship with another township. They have what's called a tub grinder. And that tub grinder actually takes the wood material and turns it into good mulch. And they will gladly accept our mulch every 2 loads we take down as long as we bring 1 truckload back. And so it works out very well for us. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, I mean, thank goodness we have the relationship. We had a storm and we've had so much, so much material that we took down there, we had to bring it back. That's our responsibility. And you saw the pile that was out there. We had to dispose of it somehow.
It's going down.
And the residents are paying for it to be hauled. The residents are welcome to have it until we run out. So we are at the end of it. The pile is almost gone. I do want to recommend that we work together and figure out a place to permanently store mulch on a regular basis, not right next to the food pantry where we've stockpiled it in that place that's not quite so out in the open. So in the future, I would love to work with the board to find a place to do that on a permanent basis. So anyway, that's it.
If my memory serves me correctly, I think we had a discussion, I'll have to go back and refresh it, but I believe it's up kind of towards the bus barn on the north side. If you're looking at the bus barn or the Parks building, on that north side where they have a tendency to park their cars today, the bus drivers, thought we were gonna do something there to store mulch up there. I don't know, we'll come back to it.
I think I just think we're at a point where it's time to prepare for that. We have a source that's so beneficial to the road district and the township as a whole to be able to dispose of our branches that fall down, that we can actually come and collect them and get them out. And to be able to do that and then have a place that cleans it up and we can bring it back and use it for a purpose, it's a real benefit. So yeah, absolutely. Now is the time to start planning for that, absolutely.
Well, thanks. Any other questions for the highway commissioner? Hearing none, last item on there before board member comments is executive session, and there's no need for that this evening. So I guess I'd open it up to any board member comments.
I would like to say something, please.
Sure.
Mary, you had made a comment about the hours, and here you gotta understand, first of all, there's not that many things needed to be done in the office. I am here before 7 o'clock every day, 5 days a week. My job doesn't stop there. If there's something that has to happen, I've had occasions where Jim had a check that needed to be signed. I came back after my other commitment with Able Light. You know, there's times when Debbie and I went to her house and we've done something that we overlooked and needed to be done immediately. I'm on call basically 24/7. So I do the best of my ability. I try everything to complete everything as accurate and as I can. But again, it's not just 4 hours a day. And you also have to understand, it is a part-time job. Yours, I don't care what the last board said, it is a full-time job. Jim Condon's road commissioner is definitely a full-time job. We all know why they slashed the salaries, is because they wanted to totally destroy the township. And they thought by cutting everybody's salary that they wouldn't even want the job, you know. So you're gonna find this hard to believe because I know we don't have the closest relationship, but your salary is ridiculous, and so is Jim Condon's. I mean, he's worth over $100,000 a year, easy. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And I didn't use the mic.
Anybody else have anything else to say this evening? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned at 7:59 p.m.
Just a note for folks that the tropical migratory birds are on their way north. So they're supposed to be arriving in the next 24, 48 hours. It's helpful if you do not leave lights on at night.
So,
Outside
okay.
lights.
Outside lights, and if your house, you know, if you don't leave all the lights in your house on, you just don't want them flying into windows and things like that.
Yeah, and it screws up their
When
navigation.
are they coming? Because
Yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
so just leave the lights off the next couple days.
Yeah.
Next couple of days.
Yeah.
Just wanted to let you know.
Some nights, so my husband leaves the lights on so that I don't come to a dark house. But I don't want the birds to fly in my windows either. So.
Well, also it screws up their navigation.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
want
is that what it is? No, we don't want to do
Yeah,
that.
it's mostly their navigation that they think they're going in the wrong direction because they navigate by the stars and they see all these lights all over the place.
Okay, no, thank you for the info.
Yep.
I'm gonna go home and make sure my kid and my husband knows.
I wish I could convince the person across the street from us to turn off their 48-yard lights.
I have one light on the back that's a motion sensor, we're just gonna turn that off. He always turns the front porch lights on for me. Very sweet, because I'm not coming up with the driveway, but yeah, I'll let him know. Save the birds.